By 1941, tensions between the United States and Japan had been building for years, rooted in Japan's aggressive expansion across Asia and America's decision to cut off critical oil supplies in response. Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, served as the primary base for the U.S. Pacific Fleet, home to battleships, cruisers, and thousands of sailors who considered it one of the safest postings in the military. Japanese military leaders secretly planned a devastating preemptive strike, believing a single crushing blow to the Pacific Fleet could buy them time to seize resources across Southeast Asia unopposed. In complete secrecy, a Japanese naval task force of 6 aircraft carriers sailed thousands of miles across the Pacific, maintaining strict radio silence to avoid detection. On the morning of December 7, 1941, American radar operators detected a large formation of aircraft approaching Oahu, but the warning was dismissed as a scheduled flight of U.S. bombers. At 7:48 a.m. local time, the first wave of over 180 Japanese aircraft struck Pearl Harbor without warning, catching the base almost completely by surprise on a quiet Sunday morning. Japanese dive bombers and torpedo planes targeted Battleship Row, where 8 massive U.S. battleships sat moored in a tight, vulnerable line along Ford Island. The USS Arizona was struck directly by a bomb that ignited its forward ammunition magazine, causing a catastrophic explosion that sank the battleship within minutes. Over 1,100 sailors and Marines were killed instantly aboard the USS Arizona alone, many trapped below deck with no chance to escape the flooding wreckage. A second wave of Japanese aircraft arrived shortly after, continuing the assault on ships, airfields, and hangars, destroying nearly 200 American aircraft still parked on the ground. In less than 2 hours, the attack was over, leaving 4 battleships sunk, for more damaged, and over 2,400 Americans dead, most within the first 30 minutes. News of the attack shocked the entire nation, reaching American households within hours and shattering the belief that the war overseas could remain distant from U.S. shores. The following day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed Congress, declaring December 7th a date which will live in infamy, as the United States formally declared war on Japan. Within days, Japan's allies, Germany and Italy, declared war on the United States, pulling America fully into both the European and Pacific theaters of World War II. Investigations soon began into how such a devastating surprise attack could have happened, with military and intelligence officials facing intense scrutiny over missed warning signs. Fear and suspicion spread rapidly across the United States, particularly on the West Coast, fueling a wave of prejudice against Japanese Americans, regardless of their loyalty or citizenship. In February 1942, the U.S. government ordered the forced relocation of over 120,000 Japanese Americans into internment camps, stripping many of their homes and basic freedoms. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy worked urgently to salvage and repair the damaged fleet, raising sunken battleships from the harbor floor and returning several to active service within months. American shipyards and factories shifted into full wartime production, building new carriers, battleships, and aircraft at a pace that would soon overwhelm Japan's military capacity. The attack, intended to cripple America's civilian empire, instead unified the nation almost overnight, fueling an unprecedented wave of military enlistment. 6 months later, the tide of the Pacific War turned dramatically at the Battle of Midway, where U.S. forces dealt Japan a devastating, irreversible blow. The USS Arizona was left permanently on the harbor floor, its wreckage becoming the final resting place for over 900 sailors whose remains were never recovered. In 1962, a memorial was built directly above the sunken battleship, allowing visitors to look down into the water where it still rests exactly as it did in 1941. To this day, oil continues to slowly leak from the Arizona's wreckage, rising to the surface in small droplets, a phenomenon many call the tears of the Arizona. Pearl Harbor remains one of the most significant single events in American history, the moment the United States was pulled irreversibly into the deadliest conflict the world had ever seen. In the next chapter, we follow America's entry into the war onto fronts leading toward the invasion that would help turn the tide in Europe, D-Day. Subscribe to Past to Present so you don't miss it.